you frustrated with online dating? Confused by all the new apps and fancy dating sites? Do you find yourself choosing the wrong person again and again? Well, studies show that hiring a dating coach can maximize your online dating experience. So no worries, I've got you. And I've created a virtual course called Doing Dating Right. It's a 5-video series that you can complete at your own pace in your own space, right at home. How to write your online dating bio, pick that perfect picture, and so much more. Want more info? Go to my website at jenniferhurwitz.com. Again, it's jenniferhurwitz.com. Hello, good morning. I'm Jennifer Hurwitz, and I'm your host every Tuesday for Doing Relationships Right. We got it, Kimberly, we got it. And if you're watching, you can see that Kimberly Ewertz is here with me today. And if you're listening, Kimberly Ewertz is here with me today. I'm so glad to have you. This topic is so important to me, and we're just going to jump right in because I know that people don't even want me to mess around. They probably saw the title of this podcast and they're like, let's do this. This might be a little hard for me because I am obviously a mom, as you are, of kids that have gone through a divorce. And I always think to myself, I know I've been divorced for 7 years, and I don't know, I'm filled with regret, even though I know it was the right thing to do. I still do worry about my kids every single day. I do.
That's
I worry,
because you're a good mom.
thank you, because I'm a good mom. I do. I worry. I see all these podcasts and Instagram feeds, and everyone's saying they're fine. The kids are fine. They're resilient. They're going to be great. And then I saw your book, and it's called Family Redefined: Childhood Reflections on the Impact of Divorce. Right.
Right.
And I was like, I have to have this woman on my show because I'm sure that you are filled with so much knowledge on this topic, and I know that you're going to tell us all about it. And this is a book with adult kids, 9 adult children of divorce, right?
Yes, and then the 10th chapter, each adult child has their own chapter. So
Okay.
1 through 9 is an adult child of divorce reflecting from the time they found out about the divorce all the way up to present day.
Wow.
Present day when I interviewed them.
Okay.
And then the 10th chapter is told by the mother of a 10-year-old little girl whose husband said, I'm done with the marriage when the child was only 10 months old. So
And they,
they actually, the reason I put them in the book is because they're the perfect example of how to do divorce right.
okay.
They always, I'm getting goosebumps. They always put their child first. No matter, I mean, she had reason
To
to be
not.
vindictive, but that is one of the worst things you can show your child.
Right.
You
Right.
have to show unity between, mom and dad, even though mom and dad live in separate
Right.
homes now, because that provides them the role model and the example that they need, and they know that that family is somehow still intact.
I call it an unfamily, our unfamily
Un-
unit.
I love that. I
Yeah, because
love that.
I call my husband and I, as you know, I love
Yes.
doing divorce right. That's my favorite topic. So, I see everyone talking about how, the kids are resilient and they're going to be fine. And then, I mean, are they? Can you tell us? Let's talk. First of all, can we start at the beginning? And Kimberly, tell us how this came about, how this book started, how you decided to do this one day. How did this start? Tell us.
Okay, sure. When my son was 10, I went through a divorce. That was a long time ago, and it's taken me a long time to finally figure out how to put a resource out there because I've seen the devastation it had on him, even though I knew I was taking us out of a very volatile relationship and an atmosphere that he needed to no longer be included in. But for him, like one of the therapists that I interviewed, she explained that the divorce is like a death for a child. It's the death of the family. So he had to go through his grieving process. All children do. They have to go through a grieving process, just like any of us do with the loss or the death of family or of a loved one.
Sure.
And sometimes they get stuck. They get stuck maybe in denial, and they think mom and dad are going to get back together, and that plays out, or they get stuck in anger,
Of
or
course.
so they just need the reassurance and the help from sometimes professionals, and some kids are very open and respond to that, but there are others that do not, and that's when the parents have to go get the help they need to help their child, and
Absolutely.
it's beneficial for you. So eventually that's what I did. I got therapy, and through my therapy, I was able to help my son because he would go to his sessions in a group counseling, atmosphere, and he would hide under the table
Oh, poor
and
baby.
wait till he saw my feet through the door.
So
Get
I know,
emotional.
I know. Yeah, it's
Um,
hard.
so that wasn't helping him. So he was wanting me to be his support system. And as all divorced parents know, you're a total wreck
I mean, you're going
when
through
this
this
is
awful
happening.
thing. It's hard enough to keep yourself right. I mean,
Exactly.
it's tough.
Exactly. You're
So
you're
hard.
trying so hard to put that face on,
Sure.
that you're fine, you're strong, we're going to get through this. And actually what I found out through my 5 years of research is that um honesty is actually the way to go with your children,
Yes.
because they need to know that you are feeling those frustrations, that fear, and the unknown. And if you can, you know, positively express that to them and say at the same time, "Hey, I've got help and I have resources. So this isn't on you. You don't carry
Right.
this on your shoulders. Mom or dad has this. So just know that I understand your fear and I'm here for you."
Yeah, because I think a lot of
I
times, I
keep
know it's
getting
okay.
choked
I
up.
cry. It's not a podcast with me if you're not crying. I feel like I cry every podcast, and I knew this one was going to be tough for me because I feel like I remember, even though we did it so amicably, we were so we promised each other that we were going to do it right. I can remember the kids were scared because they
Oh
had never
yeah.
seen us fighting before, because we always went outside on the front
Yeah.
porch, you know? And so when they were like, well, what do you mean? They couldn't understand. And I remember they were 9 and 11. And it was just so important to us that they knew it wasn't their fault,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, you did exactly what all of the therapists, recommend. They say you can never reassure a child enough that
Mhm,
it's not their fault.
mhm.
Because in a child's point of perspective, the world revolves around them. That's
Of
just how
course.
children are. They're kind of self-centered,
Egocentric, sure.
but they're children.
Right.
So to when something devastating like the divorce happens, they immediately assume that guilt and they carry it. And so you reassuring them over and over, both partners reassuring the child over and over, not your fault. This is mom and dad. This isn't you.
Right.
I
And
did do that
sometimes
right with my son.
you did or you didn't. You did.
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He talks
And I
about
think
it
sometimes,
today.
oh, when you're in a hostile relationship too, or you're with and you're getting out of it, and sometimes one of the parents isn't involved anymore. That child thinks that something happened that's even worse than the divorce, right? So then they go to this place where if you're not honest with them, they're making up like narratives in the head, like maybe the person's sick, or maybe dad is he's maybe
Yeah.
he died or he left because the mom isn't sharing what really happened. And I think it's really important to be honest.
Yeah, no, the experts all said the same thing, that being honest with your child is so crucial
So
for the child's welfare and for
right,
your own too, because then you don't have to feel like you have to be so phony with them.
right, right.
You can be truthful and be vulnerable. I think if they
Right,
see that we're vulnerable, they understand that that's okay to be. Well, if
right,
mom's that way, then it's okay for me to be that way. But as
right.
long as you're helping each other get through it.
Right. And I think it's important too that kids that they share their emotions and they say when something's upsetting them. You don't, it's the mental health aspect of it. It's important that kids, boys and girls, share when they're hurting and when they're sad and upset, that they share their feelings. So all around,
Yes. Yes, and
so important.
even small children,
Yeah.
the experts explained to me that you can you can see how they're dealing with it through their play. Like if
Yes.
some children are like, you know, crashing their dolls together or their cars together, or having fights with, one of their play toys, it's their expression of what they're feeling inside. They just don't, at that age, if they're young enough, they don't have the words.
Right.
So you play with them and you exchange, conversation with them and try and through that play get get what they're feeling.
Right. Right.
Try and, encourage that they tell you how they're feeling
Yeah.
and
Because
let them
sometimes
know
they
it's
can't.
okay.
Yeah, sometimes they can't say how they're feeling, but you can definitely see it in their actions. Like I know teenagers, they may act out at school. Their grades may drop. They might start
Yes.
doing drugs and alcohol, and
Yes.
stuff like that. I'm
And
really interested, Kimberly, too. When you interviewed the older kids, or the older, the adult, no, the
The
adults.
adults,
How
yeah.
old were they? A couple of them, and what did they say? Do you
Well,
mind sharing?
chapter one is Lisa, and I
Okay.
interviewed her. She was in her early 50s, and
Wow.
her parents' divorce took place when she was 6. And she was my very first interview. And at the end of it, which was like 2.5 hours long, we're both in tears. And
Oh,
she's telling me how cathartic it was to be able to kind of go through that whole experience in her life and how it's affected her up through, her relationships today, and how
yeah.
she had to deal with abandonment because her dad just kind of, was out of
Wow.
the picture for a while. So she says she still looks for that in a relationship for
Of course.
somebody who wants, she knows she's not going to measure up, that they're going to eventually leave. And she's like, and all that crap just sucks, you know? So
Right.
she's like, you have to get to a place where, you take care of yourself.
Right. Right. And
So
I
I
think we're
thought that was very revealing. And then
very
there's
revealing.
one gentleman who was in his mid 20s,
Okay.
and his name is Tony in the book, and his he was living on his own, but his mom just up and left the family
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
and left a note for the husband, a note for his sister, but nothing for him. No note.
Oh no.
And he, 15 years later, he's still dealing with that trauma.
Of course. Yeah, it's
So,
awful.
it doesn't matter your age, it's still going to impact you because that was your family
Right.
and now it's broken.
Right. And we were talking about this before too. I think I asked you the question, and then you actually asked my specific question to the therapist, right? Was, is it better for a child to stay in a home that's not doing, or is it better for them, to get divorced? Right. Was
Right.
it,
I
is it,
specifically
yeah,
wanted to know that, I
right.
wanted to know, is it better to just tough it out in a bad marriage for the child, or, is divorce a better option? And they explained to me that two healthy, happy homes separate are much better and healthier for the child than one very unhealthy
Right.
environment,
Right.
because the
But,
anxiety and the tension and the
right.
stress level is always there, even if there's no abuse.
Right.
There doesn't have
Right.
to be an abusive situation. If it's just a bad marriage and these two people have gone opposite directions, that's going to be felt by the kids no matter what age they are.
I feel much better, Kimberly. Thank you. But at the same time,
Um,
it's all their
I'm
kids are
glad.
always going to be impacted no matter what.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a kid not being, because I have all these people who are always saying to me, "Oh, the kids are so resilient. They're going to be fine. Kids are fine." So many kids are fine after, but they, no matter what, the kids will have an impact from this divorce. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. How could
Absolutely.
they not?
I
I
don't know
mean,
these
it's
people.
their family. It's
Yes.
their identity was tied to that family because that's, their children. So
Yes.
in their perspective, that's who they are. They're this family unit. And all of a sudden you're telling them that family unit is basically destroyed. It's
Right.
broken. It's no longer intact. So how are they not going to
Right.
carry that hurt with them?
Of
And
course.
it's how you deal with what they're
Right.
feeling and what they're experiencing and helping them along the way in whatever is best for that child. And each child is different.
Right. That was my next thing. It's like, so you know that
Sorry.
yes, they're going to be okay, and yes, eventually, but they have to be in a happy, healthy divorce for it, right? So that's the next
Yeah.
point. Anyone who's been through a divorce knows co-parenting is not all rainbows and sunshine, especially when alcohol abuse is involved. Pair these challenges with the pandemic, and you've got the perfect storm. Soberlink's alcohol monitoring system is the most convenient, reliable, and reasonable way for a parent to provide evidence that they're not drinking during parenting time. Soberlink's real-time alerts make it easy to negotiate with any party. Judges rest assured that the child is safe. Attorneys get court-admissible evidence of sobriety, and both parents have empowerment and peace of mind. Do divorce right and trust the experts in remote alcohol monitoring technology to keep your kids safe, happy, and well-adjusted. Get an exclusive $50 off your device by emailing info@soberlink.com and mentioning Doing Relationships Right.
I think one of the quotes by one of the experts was, your children will do as well as you do regarding the divorce. So if you
Right.
handle it congenially and leave, the drama out of it, then the kids will benefit from that. And
Of
that's
course.
so important
So
because so
important. It's
many
so good.
times children are, brought into the middle
Oh,
and they're made to, have to, because one parent is downgrading the other. And that's, they're putting their child and using them like a pawn. And they said that is, one of the experts said that's child abuse in her opinion.
well, it is.
And it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do it. You just can't. I mean, and the
Yeah. My
problem is
ex
that
did,
who
sorry.
did that? No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Your
my
ex
ex
did.
did that to my son. He would say, "Where's mom tonight?" And my son would say, "Oh, I think she went to grandma's house." So he drove him to grandma's house and drove around the block over and over. Do you see her car? Do you see her car?
Oh
Don't
my
you wonder
God.
where she's really at?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It's hard. It's just, divorce is, it sucks.
Well, it's just sometimes the adults in the relationship are so self-centered that they can't
Oh,
understand what they're doing to their child. And it's like
right.
you have to wake up and realize,
Right.
you're still a parent first. You made that choice to bring that child into this world, so you better step up and be there for them in one of the most devastating times of their lives and show them, that you still care about mom, or she still cares about dad. And that's another thing that the expert said is, if you have a situation where, the one is downgrading the other, then you have to be the bigger person and you have to turn it around and tell the child, well, you know what? Daddy or mommy is angry at me right now. So they're saying and doing things they probably shouldn't, but we have to understand that they're hurting. And then you tell them, kind of give them a way out of not being so confused about, because they feel like they have to choose then.
They have to pick. Sure.
And
Right.
that's
It's all about your
it's
ego too. It's
so
putting your
traumatic.
ego. Yeah. Putting your
Yeah.
ego aside and putting your kids first is what I tell my clients. And I'm like, you know what? But it's so hard for some people to wrap their head around that, right? I always tell my clients to use your kids' names when you're talking in high conflict
Yeah.
situations. So instead of saying the kid, the kids, use
No.
Jonah and Zach. And that way it's a trigger to make them realize they're talking about people here, right?
Yeah, people
They're,
that they brought into this
yes,
world,
yes, yes, right? So
Yeah.
stop being such a
Yeah, exactly. A big one.
yeah, stop being such an a-hole, right? I mean, like, come
Yes.
on, it's not that hard.
Yes.
I can swear it's
Yes.
my podcast, but that's what I'm saying. Like, stop it. But it's so, I think that emotions get so high, and we talk about this all the time, that to say, to put yourself in that position and then to realize, wait, I have to think about your kid. You just have to. Your
You
kids, it's
have
like,
to.
so tell me some more. I'm very interested in it. So and I don't want to give away your whole book, but each chapter is basically just saying this. But the most important thing to take away is that if the kids get help in therapy or whatever they need, because each kid is different,
It's different.
um, they can be okay.
They
Did any of
can.
the did
Yeah.
any of the chapters in your book, did any of them have a okay situation? Or was it all no?
Well, the amazing thing, even the worst case scenario, there's a brother and sister, Katniss and Chris. They're they not only lived with were not only children of divorce, they lived with abusive parents.
Oh,
And so they're both amazingly successful, happy, well-adjusted
thank God.
people. So, yeah, it's that's that's the overwhelming message I hope to convey in the book is hope.
Hope.
Hope to
Yes.
all those parents out there
Oh,
that you can do this. You can
yeah.
get through it. My son and I did, and that first year was like that was
Bad.
hard. It
Yeah.
was emotionally hard on us both, but we got through it. And we got through it together and now we're stronger for it. So that can be any divorced parent. You can get through this journey.
Yes.
And that's
If
why I just wanted there to be something out there to give them the perspective of that child that went through it, because you have all these experts telling you what to do, which is great and it's helpful. But let's hear what it was like for the actual child to go through it.
I mean,
I just felt that
amen.
that was something that was missing and I wanted it out
I mean, I don't know why I didn't think of this. It's awesome.
there. Oh,
I,
and there's a Q&A at the back of the book,
oh,
and it's just it's 12 questions from that I pose to all the therapists, and so it's their answers to some of the most universal questions that I think divorced parents deal with. Why is my son or child acting out? What do I do when I want to introduce a new, you know, companion into the family?
Yes,
Just
big time.
situations that you're going to be dealing with. And
Right.
I thought it was good just to have that little reference to kind of go there and like, okay, okay. And
I
then
think
you
it's
can
great.
research even more.
I think your book should be in, that mediators, attorneys, collaborative law. It should be in
Yeah,
everyone's office. I think they should give that they should give it to every divorce couple. I mean, divorce people going through
that's
divorce. Every
wonderful.
client.
That's a great idea.
You should reach out to
Yeah,
every and keep like my book in Charlotte is that a couple of lawyers and mediators because they give it to them when they leave. It's like a gift for them, like a parting. Like read this on the way out because I think it's super important that people know. I think you're absolutely right. If someone, if I was going through the divorce and I read your book, maybe I was okay, but maybe if I was in high conflict, I would check myself. I would say, you know what, I really have to do this right. I
yeah,
need to for my children after reading your
yes,
book, I would probably take pause and say, I'm going to do this right.
yeah.
I'm going to put my kids first. You know?
Yeah, that's the overwhelming message throughout every chapter
Oh, I
is,
love that. So
just
you
be
did a
there for
great
them.
thing. So through all your pain, and then now you're doing something fabulous for like this is just like right. Was it cathartic for you too to do this? Or
Extremely. And
me too.
I thought my son and I were close before, but his chapters in the book.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. And he
Oh,
said, interview me like you did all the others, and then you write the chapter. So I did. And
oh my
it turned
gosh. How
out
old is
really
he now?
well. He's 41.
Oh my.
So it
Wait a
took
minute.
me a long time to
Okay, you
to
must have
get
been a
to
really
this.
young mom because you look super young to me.
Oh, you're sweet. You're too sweet.
I mean, really young, because I'm looking at you. You can't see if you're listening, but if you're watching my YouTube right now, I was thinking maybe is he 16, 17? That's what I'm
No,
like. He's
I
not that.
wish I had thought of that, but I've done journalism now for over 30 years, and I feel my strong suit is telling other people's stories.
Yeah,
And I always knew, like Tony and I, that's my son, always talked about creating something for children
so smart.
and divorced parents, but I just didn't know what vehicle to do or what format. And then it finally just clicked where let them tell their stories
So
and
smart.
let the child, the adult child, tell you what it was like for them. And then it all just, it took 5 years, but it all eventually came together.
I think it is so. I think it is so smart. It is so necessary. It is so. It's actually it's brilliant. I think that every couple going through divorce needs to read it.
I think even if you only take away one piece of advice or information that can help your child, I think it's worth it right there. I think you'll take away a lot more just from all it's like free counseling included in
Yeah,
the book.
I was going to say, you
So
know what?
I that was just so important to me. It's like I needed it. So I know others need it too. So I'm going to put that in there.
I wonder if also you would possibly save a few marriages because this is another perspective too. I know when I was going through my divorce, um, my ex and I, my husband and I, we were going back and forth for 3 years. We just whatever. We were never. It wasn't. I think if we would have done this is my woulda, coulda, shoulda, my second book, but I really don't know if we. Hindsight is 2020, right? But maybe if we would have done a little more work and blah blah blah, and did. So I wonder if reading that book would have given us so much pause that we would have done a little more, before we leaped. I don't know,
Well,
you
yeah.
know,
I feel it's a good book for anybody who's thinking about
contemplating.
divorce,
Yep,
not only the ones that are divorced,
I
but
agree.
yeah,
I think it would
yeah.
scare a couple people into saying, "Look, if I
Think
maybe we
about
should
what
work on
you're
this."
doing and
Yeah,
can you work it out for
yeah,
the sake of the entire family?
yes,
Then give it a shot, at
yeah.
least
Well,
give
that
it
was
a
me. I
shot.
think, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying to stay. I never, my book says the same thing.
No,
I never advocate for staying in an abusive, physically abusive, or whatever. Just get
no.
out, right? I'm talking about people like me who are like, "Oh, the garage door goes up and my heart doesn't flutter." I mean, like that was me. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, you know what? We haven't had sex in 6 months. I'm getting divorced." Like, but I think people need to work on things.
Well, sometimes relationships just, the people in them just grow in different ways,
Yep.
and there's no connection anymore, and
Yep.
that's no one's fault.
No, no. But sometimes I think if you read a book like that and you're like, maybe we should just reconnect because our kids might, I
Yeah,
mean,
it
it's just,
could.
I'm just
If
saying.
that could help, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. I do really think you should reach out to, where do you live?
California, Gilroy,
Oh,
California.
oh gosh, California. All my California listeners right there. Everyone needs to get this book. Well, it's going to be in the show notes anyway, but I have many attorneys that I've actually been on their shows and worked with in California that this book needs to be in all of their offices. We're gonna stay in touch and I'm gonna help you with that. But I
Thank
mean, this is
you.
just a book everybody needs to have. And you are on Instagram.
I am. Yes.
Yes, because I
It's
follow.
hashtag
But you're
Family Redefined book.
hashtag okay. Everything's gonna be in the show notes where everybody can find you. And the book is called Adult Children of Divorce: Testimonials from Adult. Am I right?
No, Family
No, no.
Redefined
Family Redefined. Oh, I was reading my notes
childhood.
above me. Family Redefined: Child's Reflections on the Impact of Divorce.
Yeah.
So
Family
I
Redefined is what everybody seems to remember. The rest of it, the tagline or the subtitle is a little
yeah,
intense.
mine too. But so it's perfect. Both my books
So
the same thing.
Family
I'm like,
Redefined.
the Family Redefined. I was like, one happy divorce and woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm like, the rest of it, who cares?
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm so glad you were here today. And I didn't mean to make you cry. And I was crying too. It's just like, it's a tough topic.
it is.
It's hard.
But it's one that needs to be discussed,
Agree.
and hopefully, this will help others do that with their
I
children.
hope so. I hope so too. So really, so
I
before we
can't
go,
thank you enough
oh
for
my
this
gosh.
opportunity.
Well, after this, I don't know if you've been on any other podcasts. You're going to be on a lot
I'm what?
because you'll be on a lot of shows after this one. I don't know if you've been on some, but after this podcast,
I've been
everyone's going to
in
hear you.
two others so far.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect. You'll be on a whole lot more. People are going to reach out to you. So that'll
okay.
happen for you. But before we go, can you give my listener a little, one piece of advice that you think they can go away with, a little nugget of knowledge?
Well, like I said, honesty is so key.
Okay.
And Lisa, the chapter one, who was six when all her parents, they separated for several years. Um, and she was in her interview with me, she said, if my mom had just told me, "Hey, Lisa, I'm scared. This is
Oh,
scary for me too." She says that would have given me so much camaraderie, and I could have connected better to my mom than her trying to put that front on that she's strong and she's fine, because it was false. And I feel that is one of the most important messages to
wow.
convey to all parents, because we all want to do that. We want to be that strong parent, but more importantly, we have to be honest with our children, because we want them to be honest with us, right?
Right.
So why wouldn't we give them the same?
I love that. And I think you're so right. I am thinking, and I'm like, I have so many girlfriends who went through the divorces and put on such facades. Like their kids had no, just walked around and they were stoic and
Yeah.
and the kids, I'm
Well,
just
you think
thinking,
you're doing the right thing. You
right,
really do.
right, right. I've also seen things that I can't believe I've seen, like screaming in the parking lot at each other and yelling in front of the kids and get in the car. Your father doesn't love. I'm like, oh my, I can't even.
That's some
Just
of
so
the worst things that the children can be exposed to. They're
mm,
never going to forget it.
never. They're
No.
like defining moments in these children's lives.
Yeah,
Defining
and it
moments.
affects how they make relationships going forward, as they
Absolutely.
get older.
And I think the real message too is that kids can do this. They can get through this. They can be
They
okay. They can
can.
end up with great if they have the the therapy and they have the help that they need and the support that they need to get through this divorce in a positive manner,
Let
right?
let the children know you're there for them. Always, always, always let them know you're there for them. Even if you feel you can't give 100%, give what you can,
Give
because that's
25%, but
what
make it
they
the
need.
best, right?
Yeah, that's what they need.
That's what they need. Oh, this has been great. Kimberly, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you more than you know. This
Oh,
topic was just, I'm so glad we finally did this. Thank you. I appreciate you.
thank you so much for the opportunity to appear on
Oh,
your podcast. Oh
I
my
love it.
gosh.
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you. And everybody, Kimberly Ewertz, and her book is going to be in my show notes, the link to it, everything, so you can buy it. I'm going to get this right. Family Redefined. Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Family Redefined. Hashtag Family
Family
Redefined. I
reunified.
did it. Perfect. Okay. And you know where to
You
find me. It's jenniferherbitz.com. And I'm so excited. I have a new website out. My new website is coming out. I love it. It's gorgeous and I can't believe it. I'm just finally a new website after 2 years. And that's about it. I've got some cool stuff that's free in my link tree that you can grab now. And, grab my books too if you feel like it. Other than that, do something fun today. And as always, peace, love, and so much truth. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.